Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new episode of the Guile Treatment. Rob's not here, so I'm doing his job for him. And we have the UK Nationals follow-up episode, having our very own Timmy Two Belts Keefe, who now has an asset in the teams event that happened in the UK this past weekend at the time of recording. JJ may be joining us later on. He has not responded to my text message yet. If he does, he'll just hop in, and he is our singles winner. So congratulations to him. If we don't see him, we will get a episode with him because he is pretty easy to get a hold of. But today is all about Timmy 2.
Man,
or 3. I always say that. So I can't say Timmy 2 anymore because he's got 3 that.
What is it? So just to preface this, the U.S. kind of sort of took the titles back in a way, because Tim teamed with 2 UK gentlemen. So
2 for 4.
2 for 4. 2 for
50-50.
Yeah, so it's not that bad. We took the singles back from them. That was kind of important. The North Americans have taken that championship a lot. No offense to my buddy Mike Hardiman over there. So
yeah. There's a lot of people talking about making the trip next year too.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess there probably always are, but.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the place to throw shade, but the only reason why JJ went was because there was a huge talk. I believe Kevin Broberg at the first Nationals we went to. This is no shade. I think people have heard it before, but they just always thought that UK Nationals was the easy cardboard event.
Yeah.
And that's why JJ booked his flight. We talked about it when I won my character. He's like, I think I'm just going to go to UK Nats this next year and really, really try and get my character. I was like, go for it, man.
Yeah.
I'd go with you if I had the money, but because I had a passport anyway. But I think if this seems to be the trend, and this is why I brought it up, it was because if a bunch of U.S. players start to go over, then we might see something really different next year, not just the same old story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's always been like partially mythical in the sense that like the top UK guys and the better Scott players and whatnot they're as good as anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just that because the event is numerically smaller, right? The top 25% of the field, instead of being 40 people, is 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
And you've still got that curve of player skills where you still have the bottom tables of people who've been playing for 2 months and aren't necessarily that familiar with the game and whatnot. It's just that you run into those people a lot quicker with the smaller player pool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing too is and it's really interesting to talk about this too of like thinking of next year, or even just like Worlds, especially next coming year, because this game is supposed to look incredibly different, whether it be with 2 different formats, a whole bunch of new players joining in from other card games, because My Hero will be a part of it. So it's so much of, we can sit here and talk about what next year might look like.
Yeah.
We have no clue, and the whole game could be different at that point. And so, whereas I feel like last year, if we could talk about this year, it'd probably be about what we thought. So I think it's really cool. But it is nice to see a bunch of U.S. winners come over. Who knows? Maybe it gives them more reason to come over for this U.S. Nats and take our stuff.
I know Mike and Dan are planning on coming on Worlds as of now. I don't know about Grant. I know I've heard rumblings that some of the Scots are coming to Worlds. I know they want to come. That would be awesome to meet all those guys, because I haven't met any of them either. So, but yeah. So we had Tim on last week. He didn't call his own shot. I called his shot in singles. He almost got there. Almost.
Man, that was. We'll talk about it when JJ's here. But I just remember I was at work when singles top cuts were happening, and I was like, man, this top cut is stacked. We got Shane in tops. We got Tim in tops. We got Mike in tops. And I got my boy JJ in tops. And those are like the 4. I was like, man, half of top cuts right now. I don't care who wins. That'd be really sick if any of them.
Oh, definitely.
And then Top 4 happened, and Tim got eliminated, Mike got eliminated, and Shane got eliminated. Like, my boy JJ, he's the only one left. But then at that point, it was also like, kick everybody's butt, because I don't know who they are.
Dave Hancock's actually an old hat. He has a couple. I think he has a couple pieces of cardboard.
Is he the originator?
Like Legacy and Teams. I think he's the guy in One-Sided Conversation.
I think so.
I might be a little bit off.
Wasn't he the one playing?
I'm pretty sure he has a Legacy and a Teams.
Was he playing the Infinite Ava like before it got really big? He was like one of the first people
No
to play
idea.
it. I think so. If I remember correctly, I don't remember.
And what did he place then? Because like I don't know those other
He was
four.
playing Gil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he lost to I think he lost to Yoshimitsu, and then JJ beat Michael Murray in the semifinals. I think was what it was.
Right. So then okay. So let's go over the teams then. And the real reason I really want to, the biggest thing I think I want to hash out is because we do have U.S. Nationals coming up, and this was the first cardboard winning event that a lot of people wanted to get everything they had together because this was the first big major with the current format, and the next and U.S. will now be the one that comes after it. And so for the teams format, last Nationals, because that's my only sample that I have of right now for cardboard events, is it was Liu Kang meta, and so like everybody had a Liu Kang on in their deck. Most people had decks that could either deal with Fatality or were playing Fatality in a very strong sense, and then they had their +1, right? Whether it be Jackie Briggs or other stuff. In this current format, did you see anything like that?
No. We thought, I think a lot of people thought going in that there'd be a lot of Kuwabara. That didn't materialize here. There were, my team was Yusuke, Jackie, Akuma. That was sort of just a factor of what decks people had that they were working on, really. We threw the team together, a couple weeks before the event. So it wasn't like we had a big, long, protracted, planned out thing.
Right.
Then the team we faced in the finals was Kotal Khan and Lilith and Tim Tudot.
Yeah.
So then what was it? It was Zhanghua, Tim Tudot, and Ken were the LWG guys, and the Scottish team in top 4 was Zhanghua, Rando, and Goro. So the field's so pretty much open. There's lots of like A-tier characters. I mean, we didn't see. I think the Raptor that was there was a newer player, if I heard correctly. So we didn't have a Raptor sighting, although I'm sure he'll be at US Nats.
Right. So I think Ashley might play it, but speaking of which, but like all these characters that whether let's say that either a bunch of people are talking about right now, i.e. Kuwabara, and I think Jetta 2 is on a lot of people's radar right now, or these older ones that people were already kind of putting on people's teams, things like Goro, things like I believe like Lord Raptor to be a good candidate. It's just like these, instead of it being this one characters on every team, do we have decks that fulfill certain roles now? Is this a role team format kind of?
I think it's probably just not going to be solidified. I think each team is going to have their own idea of how they need to approach this. I know in our case, what we wound up doing was just saying like, all right, let's just run 3 decks that in theory don't have a lot of like bad matchups. Obviously Lilith is pretty good against Jackie, and and let's see, there was one matchup that me and Ricky wanted to avoid. I think it was actually Tim Tudot, because Akuma doesn't want to get admissions fees sealed, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
And so we going into the finals, we were the 3 seed on computer RNG because we had the same strength of schedule. So we got to pick the first pairing, and we put Jackie into the Tim Tudot because it was a chaos build with the reduction boulder barrage, and we're like, well, at least Jackie lives through that. So.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, he built that the night before. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, he did. No, he did. I was up with him as he was texting me. He's like, I'm building this right now. And I'm like, you're nuts, dude.
Okay, so
have fun.
So you say you think open field, which that was not the answer I was looking for, because I hate open field, because it's basically telling me that Barrett, just build your best deck and show up. So
it's probably, it might be more like being prepared for cards or symbols. Like, I mean, there's going to be death decks, right? There's going to be Spirit Gun Tagora Brothers, whether it's Jada, whether it's Raptor decks doing that, whether it's Yusuke decks doing that, other death characters, right? That's sort of like a broad class of decks, and each of those decks individually has very unique features. but there is the overriding theme of this like Foundation destruction kit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which do you think people will still be hard teching against because Lord Raptor was already in the meta? Like basically to me that screams like you should play the order simple and for a 4x Aegis and Wise, 4x Pursuing the Vendetta, kind of stuff like that. Like speaking of which, if you ran against any of those with Toguro Brothers, how was it?
I did not run into any of them.
Wow.
I thought that they were going to put Grant on me for that reason, but they might not have been thinking about it, in sort of that angle.
Mm-hmm.
And they put Grant on Ricky and gave me the Lilith so that she could seal my. Obviously, Lilith can seal Spirit Shotgun, right? So that's pretty compelling too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he Grant was telling me that he was his idea with Cole was just to try to blow people out. He had some tech, like it was kind of like the build we're sharing, and I shared my build with them, and they changed it a bit. So there's but Kodal, I think with the Toguro Brothers, like it's still in Toguro Brothers' favor because it can just cancel and blow up Pursuing Vendetta if it wants, and all that fun stuff. So you still
can't be destroyed, but yeah.
No, it can't.
It'll be flipped by the time.
It'll be flipped by the time it's destroyed. So
you're right. Sorry. You can use it to cancel it, but if you wanted to cancel something else, then
it's just a matter of all these decks sort of just try to put together critical mass of destruction so that they can work through anything that's present. Order's better than other symbols because it can put 8 pieces of it, but the other symbols that just have 1 piece, it's annoying, but it's like a speed bump. It's not.
Yeah.
Now it's not like those cards maybe once were against a Jada deck where you put like you play Pursuing against Jada and you feel much better about your odds.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think the format for teams is more like a paper, rock, scissors thing, or is it just more no bad matchups, or try to lessen your bad matchups? Like instead of like to narrow down the open field, is it more of just playing a deck that has like a 75-25 matchup against most of the field if you can?
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, I'm not generally good at teams.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it is.
I played Yusuke in part because like Yusuke himself doesn't really have standout bad matchups. Like, decks that can deal with shotgun better are going to be a little more annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Earth 7 hand size, and just Earth in general, like all the stuff that it can do to disrupt you. His offense is a little bit weak compared to like some of the more explosive stuff out there.
Yeah.
Obviously, he can still turn to you if he gets the right draw, but
correct.
So, but it's still it's never much worse than like 40% with Yusuke, and I felt like doing that would allow us to pick our pairings for the other 2 decks, and especially for Jackie, because we kind of threw together the Jackie the night before. Like Lee had played Jackie, but it was an outdated build. He had Surveyors in there still.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of touched that up, got some friends and rivals in there. And he wound up having a rough go of it, but he lost to a lot of stuff that you're not really ashamed to lose to. Like he lost to the Goro, who was second after Swiss. He got Heidi'd. Anyone can get Heidi'd.
Yeah.
He took Michael Murray to game 3, but our other 2 games had ended in the semis, so it's a close one to Mike. But luckily me and Ricky were able to pick him up 3 times out of 4 there, and the size of this event, that was enough.
Yeah, I guess that's one of those things too, is like I guess all these things that I'm over here worried about coming up from preparing for U.S. Nationals is as much as I really do want to use UK Nats as a really good state stranglehold, but the quantity of people that will be at U.S. Nationals makes it to where like I also love Friends and Rivals as a card, but at the same time it's all like, well, any deck I play against Sense of Morals, I'm gonna regret my life's decisions, kind of, or like I just choose not to use it, and then it feels like a dead foundation. So it's just like
I just blow Sense of Morals every time.
Well, I mean, I guess yes. In a deck like this, I understand. So
you just spirit gun it away. That's all you do. It's like I'll just blow that up. You can't do anything. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely one of those things where it's like the death decks that you're talking about, the symbol identities that we might be seeing running around, and whether it be Jetta, whether it be Yusuke, whether it be pick your favorite death character, whether it be like
Barrett Bryant.
Yeah, Barrett Bryant. Yeah, you're right. the foundation destruction control area is going to be something that people have to deal with, and it is one of those things that just also inherently is really good against specific characters. Do you think that deck has almost too many pieces that even if your opponent plays the answers to them, they just don't have enough?
I think it has too many pieces to answer it every time, yeah. But is your deck dense enough on quality foundations that you don't have to answer it every time, right? So if you're a Chaos deck and your only real defensive pieces are Wear Light and Cleanse by Blood, then yeah, you might have a problem, right? Even if you redeem Rogue a couple of them, they're probably going to keep your best stuff off the board. Whereas, you know, if you're a deck that, you know, maybe an all deck, maybe an Earth deck, where you have a much higher density of foundations that can really do impactful things, then you're going to be a little bit stronger against these destruction decks because they can't stop everything, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And if they're relying on that too much, if that's like, I'm going to win by eliminating all of my opponent's answer pieces because my offense might not be able to win otherwise, then you're going to have a bit of an upper hand there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at your list, and this is actually really close to a Quan Chi list I built. So, like, obviously the difference being that it has character cards in it. But I've actually, and I even told Chris and Rob, I think at some point once the whole set was revealed, I was like, guys, I've really been messing with Quan Chi, like 2-dot, like they're doing, and like I think he actually really has legs this next format because of all this death support and stuff, right? And you already get access to like the characters that help you fix some of the problems. Obviously, the downside is to play character cards.
Yeah.
But then you get access to his foundations that you can cancel stuff and or draw more cards using your character. So like, so I was looking at this and like, why does this look familiar? Aside of like a few cards and quantities, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was pretty close to playing Quan Chi. I've been fiddling with a Withering Toxin Zasalamel version of Quan Chi, where you have this sort of lopsided matchup against Zhanghua and Cassie and some decks like that. But I was like, I just don't know enough about what we're going to see here.
Right.
I don't want to play a deck that has really any sort of gimmick where it has like this better and worse matchups that kind of vary by some degree without really knowing the format.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's part of my fear too. If we dive in specifically into your list, since it is one of the winning lists, can I ask you some questions?
Yeah.
Shoki Gahosa.
That's a spicy awesome. One of.
I mean, I love this card, even when I wasn't playing it in his old. But I'm wondering, is it specifically like the surprise momentum dump? Is it the just punishment for not blocking, the extra burning, waste some mid block out of them, basically?
It's a little bit of the deck is short on momentum outlets in general. Okay. You have the EX3 and Spirit Charged Kick.
Yeah,
I drew that card a lot less than I should have, so I got my momentum stranded a lot. But you have that EX3, you have the one momentum Guilt Seeker, and then I added the Celestial Beings before teams to add some more momentum outlets. You can use the momentum to ready Genkai's training, but there's not a whole lot there. So you end up with this spare momentum a lot, and having this, my sort of thought on one of attacks that isn't necessarily very firm, but it's my thought on the one of attacks in this list is that they're cards that they're attacks that you don't necessarily want to see early, but you're kind of happy to see them at some mid to late stage of the game. And I think both Capsule Zap and Shoki fit that profile.
I love the Capsule Zap. The Capsule Zap is crazy.
Yeah,
I've never thought of that.
So my two finals games against Dan, the first one I won with Shoki, and the second one I basically won with Capsule Zap.
That's sick. Awesome. That is awesome, dude. That is cool.
Yeah, I won a lot of games with Shoki. Just the other part is that the deck, you go deep on these attack strings, and you have to use the Yusuke thing to fuel your shotgun or whatever at the end. And being able to have that one more attack after is pretty valuable.
Right. I get that. Okay. I mean, it's a good enough answer for me.
Oh, yeah.
Voice of Reason, did you see it often enough? Did you want to see it more? Because I know you only have it as a 2. I know a lot of people... Undecided? Okay.
Yeah. I had it at 0 initially, and then I crept it up to 2. I cut the most trusted assassins that I was running before teams, so I might turn around and put voice to 3. It might also depend on where I go with my non-block count. The thing is, like, it's blind draw, so it's only so valuable, and you're forcing your opponent to discard, so sometimes you're going to trigger stuff on them, and then it's just dead.
Yeah.
Right. If your opponent has a TK down, you probably can't activate Voice of Reason.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, maybe you want them to flip that TK, but it might also just beat you up.
Mm-hmm.
Or, if they have... I activated against Jianghua knowing she had emergency rations, and I was, like, clenching my teeth every time, hoping she'd toss 1 and draw 3.
But I don't have a lot of questions because I've been chatting with Tim about his list in our chat. But I want to know one thing: Sinister Malevolence. Did you get to actually use it at all? Oh,
fortunately,
unfortunate, man.
The coils weren't there. They did not take the UK by storm, and maybe they'll do that at US Naps.
Yeah.
I mean, not even is it. Honestly, I think that card probably goes in any Death deck that's doing this sort of idea. I mean, I know I've been putting them in just because it not only answers Kua, which is being a character obviously right now. It also answers those things like pursuing a vendetta, right? Like it allows you to Toguro Brothers, the foundation that you actually wanted to care, and then when they respond with it, you're like, well, get rid of it again. Like, and then you've already lost your protection piece basically.
Yeah.
So like, I love that card in these decks, but I guess the cool part.
I just like sort of happened to not run into the decks that I don't think I even saw that many Hunt decks. I think they're the only.
Oh wow.
I mean, the Guile was probably running Hunt, and I just didn't see the Sinister against it or something. But I honestly wasn't on the lookout for the Vendetta play. That's a very real thing. I might have missed a trigger on that. Shane obviously had Vendettas in his Earth Tim that I lost to in single Swiss. It was close. It wasn't like a blowout match, but he built 5 checking 3, 4, 4, 5, 5 on turn 1 going first in game 3.
Well, Tim Keefe does that.
I actually really like your triple Keikos in the sideboard. Did you almost always side them in going second?
Only against decks that were going to crash in on me.
Okay.
Like, obviously, Guile doesn't care that much, right?
Yeah.
There's plenty of decks where it just doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that was 2 main, 2 board, I think, in singles, and I shoved them out for teams to get the Celestials in there.
Yeah.
And then I believe my last question is the one of Koenma's task. I know it's strong action hate, but I guess I was more wondering why not like the Toguro. They do different things, I understand, but did the one Koenma's ever matter?
I brought it in a few times, and I didn't draw it at any point, but yeah, I mean, Revoke's a problem, a bit, not a problem for the deck, but when you have opportunities to go in deep on this shotgun attack string, it's nice to have a little bit of protection against things like Revoke.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But, it's a 1X, so you bring it in, and hopefully you draw it at the time that you need it. So I'm not sure if that's going to survive in the sideboard or not, if I'm just going to try to make the deck a little more robust.
Mm-hmm.
It's not unable to kill without shotgun or anything, right? It can definitely kill without it, but it does rely a little bit on the threat of shotgun to make them treat the rest of your attacks a little bit differently when they're thinking about that shotgun at the end.
So it's the Michael Jordan effect. They give this one real great player that makes everybody else great, and that's what shotgun is.
Well, like I think what happened is a lot of people really underestimated Spirit Charge Kicked and Spirit Charge Punch in Yusuke specifically, because the fact that all 3 of those share, the fact that those share all 3 symbols with him, they just either get a ton of damage from Kick pumping them up, or you just get to play them for free, essentially, like at a string. And so you're right. I think it's one of those things where people prep for these big shotguns that are coming at them. And the thing is, like, for Yusuke, almost all of his attacks can just become a kill attack. Or a kill card. So
Urban Shower's 8.
Yep.
Punch is just 6 on its own. It's 9 if you did a kick before it.
Yeah.
You can punch into the kick for God knows what speed for 11.
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots of ways to sort of piece together an actually like threatening string but it's a little easier to get that over on people if they know they don't have an answer to shotgun.
Yeah.
And then, okay, I guess I thought I had only one more question. I have now another one. Did you not like Spirit Detective? Did you even try Spirit Detective?
Hunt for Karma. I think it's redundant.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Side of Karma, yeah.
Yeah, Karma's better.
I mean, obviously it covers something that Karma doesn't, but I don't want to trade off the low block for a no block just to get those cases in there.
Is that the same reason why?
Plus in Yusuke, you're feeding your discard pile to Yusuke anyway. So that's like that. You're like giving your opponent a 2-point swing to use Spirit Detective.
Is that why no securing his destiny made into your list? Because you just relied on Karma to stop like those abilities.
Securing destiny is not the list because there's a lot of good cards in this game.
Yeah,
and you can play all.
Yeah, that's also true.
Sadly, even I have been cutting securing just because. Yeah. Even I would rather play Dark Sides than the 2/4 non-block.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's still a good card. But, there's definitely just more now than there was. Like before Dark Side even existed, like securing really mattered.
Yeah, that and what was the demanding submission? That like those two were like always fought for the same slots. Yep. It's just
yeah.
I mean, demanding definitely was more important for
the missile launcher matchup and stuff like that.
Like as soon as Gage came out, and everybody wanted to play Gage characters. Obviously, you're right. The missile launcher form. It might still even be really good against like these like Hiei characters, or even against Rando, who can like just also kill you with like a Rando Spirit Gun because it has powerful on it.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's still a relevant card. I think for a smaller event, I think no demandings here was a good call.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it's just like it's if you want to play demanding, are we not playing TK? Are we not playing Friends and Rivals? Like there's only I feel like Celestial being fills so many holes for the deck that I kind of like having it in there because it's another momentum outlet. It is a form of speed boosting in a deck that has basically none. It can turn your Spirit Charge punches into actual threats. It cancels stop, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, that is a big thing.
Cancels Seiryu, which was at least pretty popular in the UK. I think there's Jank was running Seiryu. There were other decks running Seiryu. So that card's stock has gone up.
Yeah. I believe. Yeah. I don't think it ever went down.
No, I think it's one of those cards that you see. It just depends on the meta. Where, like, it was heavily played in the Bebop meta, I'd assume, because of missile launchers and all that stuff. And it kind of, as more sets came out, it kind of some of the Blood Omen cards kind of fell to the wayside.
Yeah, as like the threats became Cassie and Liu Kang, it was like, well, this doesn't stop them. So
yeah, exactly. Well, no one really reversed anyways because you die if you need those cards to block with most of the time instead of because with like Jackie being in the format too. But so do you want to come? I know like the Capsules at play was mostly to get Kieran Souls and Friends and Rivals and
that's it.
That's it. Oh, Guardian of the Spirit Sword. It also gets Guardian of the Spirit Sword. It's Guardian of the Spirit Sword.
Guardian, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Which one did you say?
Friends and Rivals, Kieran Soul, and Guardian of the Spirit Sword all have allies. So
I did not know Friends and Rivals.
Yeah. So go ahead and we want to talk about that. What if Capsules app can pick some really good? Why not play it at like a 2 of or maybe a 3 of? Maybe not like a 3 of, but a 2 of because it can pull out some really key stuff.
See, if you see it turn 2, you might not have one in your discard yet.
That's true.
Yeah. That actually happened to me in the Game 2 of Finals against Dan. I had like 30 cards in my discard pile and no allies.
Wow.
The other part is you're always feeding your Guardians to Yusuke at the first chance instead of your actual attack. So there's really only 7. There could be a Guardian in there, but normally there's only 7 targets.
Mm-hmm.
So I was holding on to it because it's a low block. That's also part of why it's in the deck is to show up my low block count.
Mm-hmm.
And so I used it to block with, and then I cycled my deck going into like the final turns because at some point in game 2 I had 3 bangs in my hand. So we went through this like procession of turns where I was just banging Lilith every turn, regardless of who was attacking.
Yeah.
And then on the last turn I drew it again, and I had like Capsule Zap and a couple shotguns. So I played the Capsule Zap and he had to seal it. Because if he didn't seal it, I was going to get a 3rd Friends and Rivals and just completely tap him out. And then because he had to use a seal on that, he wasn't able to handle both the shotguns.
Yeah.
That's hype.
That is
how you win the game with
He had sunglasses for one of them. That was pretty spooky, but I still have the second one.
Okay. Yeah. So did Guilt Seeker pan out as well as you wanted it to? Because I know you were talking about, we had bounced two Yusuke lists back and forth, and you added that into yours, and did that pay off dividends?
I think it's a necessary evil. I think you just need the damage output on something that's not shotgun, that's still a throw.
Sure.
And it is kind of awkward because it doesn't share more than, it just shares the one symbol.
Mm-hmm.
And you do this thing and you do the multiple. And if you want to like actually play two more attacks after, that's a lot of difficulty. And if you're trying to play it as your second attack, you can't Yusuke it, etc., etc. So like, and it's a non-block and you're feeding it to voice. Like there's a lot of downsides to it, but it's also asset hate number 4 and 5. It's more foundation hate, and that's a lot of damage.
Yeah.
With Yusuke, that's 16. It's 8 and 8. One of them's a throw.
Yeah.
So I feel good about it, and I definitely would not run 3. I don't think I would run 1. Yeah. So.
Man, talking like this makes me really want to. Oh man, just like. I got 3 Guilt Seeker. I'm gonna do a tangent real quick because Rob's not here. Like I played 3 Guilt Seeker in Kodal, and the way Tim talked about it, man, I want to go down to 2 Guilt Seeker and play a 4th of a different card now. But I think I'm sticking with the 3 Guilt Seekers because it's Kodal Con.
Pretty soon it's gonna be 2 Guilt Seekers and 2 Reppas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. One. Yeah. Yeah. Coming soon to PTC.
I think Guilt Seeker is an incredibly strong card, but if you look at this list, if you want to give yourself the extra Guilt Seeker, either you're cutting either a key like Urban Shower Reversal or like one of those 2 1-0s, and I don't think I would have it any other way. Looking at this list, I think the attack lineup is incredibly well rounded.
Yeah,
and Guilt Seeker does what Spirit Gun does, but Spirit Gun just has an inherent stats on it without you having to have this condition for Guilt Seeker, right? Yeah. Whether it be the momentum or if your opponent doesn't have assets, right? Or whatever.
Yeah. I think the attack lineup is not going to change. The question is the fringe foundations around how many spam am I running? Should I put Blood, Sweat, and Beers back in because that was the other card I cut between the 2 formats? Just because after singles, I had never gone and grabbed it. And the couple times I drew it, I was like, I don't want to actually play this card.
Yeah.
This is not going to do anything till I'm in Desperation. But it does if you get into Desperation, Answer Revoke for you and stuff. And there were a couple times in the Teams event where I felt like grabbing it might have been pretty good. So I like back and forth on that card.
Would you consider Swordfish?
I don't want to add another 3 difficulty. In general, I feel like I probably should, but I don't want to go up to.
No, yeah,
it's so in a deck that's going to attack on a lot of its turns, because Yusuke you can have useful 2 attack strings, and you can have, even if you have Spirit Gun, you just toss it out there. Sometimes you have Shotgun, you just throw it out there. So it's hard to do those 1 or 2 attacks, and then if you have 2 3-diff cards in your hand, you're not going to play them both.
Yeah, I guess I asked that, but I usually play less dark sides than you do. I know almost every deck I think I've seen you build, you throw 4 of those in.
That was 3. It went to 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was another thing me and him had talked about, because I was the opposite. I was 4 spiders, 3 karma, and he gave me a piece of advice: is you're having all this foundation destruction already and this control. You really don't need the 4th spider. You can just have karma for the utility of karma and a better low block. Which is,
I think the key in this deck for it is you have Yusuke's once per turn for a pretty solid block, but actually the speed reset on it is pretty valuable in this deck. Not necessarily for canceling the enhance. Because if you can just block it, then sometimes you don't have to worry about the enhance. So.
Correct.
Yeah, and I mean, the story of my top 8 loss was basically I spent an hour and 20 minutes losing game 1 to deck out, because there was I had triple friends and rivals, so I had a lot of chances to kill him if I could just find enough speed stuff to overcome Guile.
Right. And
I never saw Kick. I never saw Karma. I only saw 1 bang. And so between teams it says okay, Guile's not the only repeat speed damage redux character out there, right? There's Sophia, I ran into a Morrigan in teams.
Oh, wow.
So
interesting.
Karma to reset my own attack speed is relevant too.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
And adding another low block doesn't hurt, certainly. So it came in with the Celestial Beings as sort of the like, okay, I might have a speed problem here, to try to shore that up.
Awesome.
I like it.
Yeah,
I think if you played this at U.S. Nationals, I think you'd also have a really good time. Like just looking at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we expect to see you playing this, Tim? Should we scare other people so you have no diversity match?
I probably will. I mean, I'm like 90% happy with the deck, and I don't think I'm gonna get something better between now and then. Realistically,
look at her, buddy. Don't play Yusuke.
Yeah.
Like it's I'm not. I'm not thrilled with like every last. I don't think it's like a plus across the board kind of deck, but I think I can work out wins with it well enough. So.
Gotta watch out for that Shoki Gohisen though. It'll catch off guard. It'll get you.
Yeah, and the problem is people know those are 1Xs now, so they see them in discard, they're like, okay.
Yeah, and then they're safe.
It can't become a 2X, like, realistically.
Yeah.
Like, I can pretend that I might, but I'm not going to. Right? There's no way.
Right.
So, if we want to talk about, do you want to talk about any of your singles at all, or you just want to keep it to teams?
I played Yusuke, both of them. Deck was within, like, 5 cards.
I mean, like, any different matchups that maybe you weren't expecting in singles at all?
Let's see. In singles, I faced. Remember, I have like I am gonna figure out how to get these pictures off my phone.
Oh, to send to me so I can post them on the website? That'd be sick.
Yeah. Round 1 in singles, I faced I think it was a relatively newer player, or someone coming from Yu-Gi-Oh or something.
Okay.
He was playing an Earth Turnaloose that I think he was borrowing from my cardman or from somebody in that crew.
Sure.
He didn't quite know how to play it. It's going in on like the draft thing where you lightning arrow and then Turnaloose and then flip the Turnaloose. But he was like playing a foundation and then playing the lightning arrow and then flipping the foundation and then putting Turnaloose in his card pool.
Oh, okay.
So he's playing a little so I won that kind of uneventfully. Round 2, if I go all the way back here, so like. I'm just like swiping through my phone pictures. Oh, round 2 was Stuart Soficia. I don't remember a lot about that match. I think the picture I took is because he sided in 3. I think this was the one where he sided in 3 Ending a Dream to increase his damage output because Yusuke's -2 is sneaky really good.
Yeah.
He's actually got like 30 something health. It's quite.
He kind of has that like that spike effect.
Better or worse than Spike 1?
I mean, I obviously played him over Spike 1 off of Death. I definitely like him better off of Death. I probably like Spike 1 better off of Life. So every time I try to think about a Life Yusuke Spike deck, because they're running a lot of the same cards, I always end up running Confronting Jada, and then I'm like, I can be Spike, I can have puppet cannons with Confronting Jada, and that's like a real thing. And I always end up back on Spike on the life symbol, but on Death, I definitely like Yusuke better because one of the things Yusuke's better at than Spike is attacking early when he needs to. A lot of Spike decks aren't that great at that.
That's true.
And Yusuke being able to do that, being able to threaten that is just very valuable.
You heard it here. Yusuke is the better Spike 1.
Yeah, I was playing some games last night at locals, and Tyler was playing Spike 1. He has a life build, and then he changed it to he has a straight side into Yusuke, and he definitely. He was just like this deck is it's more his play style with Yusuke because he likes to play more aggressively, and Yusuke can play more aggressively. He plays like even though the Spike had swimming birds and specialized ammunitions and stuff like that, and with Yusuke it's more of a stretch because you have to flip your demon hides on your own attacks to get the specialized ammo trigger to get free shotguns at the end of your strings because he played shotgun on a 2 and blew me out for a lot.
I mean, the list even I put up on the website is just I built a hyper aggro Yusuke deck that's just like, let's slam a bunch of shotguns, and then we also have ways to get them back because we have things like Dark Tournament Looms. Right. So it's like I just built hyper hyper shotgun deck, and so it's like the overtops, share 2 symbols, 4 of them in the deck, reborn humans for health sustain on defense and offense, like all these kind of stuff is just like. He definitely, if you took a life spike deck, and let's say you made it a shotgun deck, and you just did spike one things. If you side it into Yusuke, I think it just makes it a turn faster, basically. But you lose
speed.
A lot of the what eventually could just be super late game. That spike one, I think really does
you lose the generous gambler blowouts.
Yep.
Right, where you just like, I have 2 generous gamblers, I'm going to win now. And
Yep.
Yusuke doesn't get to do that, Spike does.
Yep.
So yeah, round 3, I ran into Shane playing Earth Tim 2. It was close. I lost in 3 games. He had that cheeky turn 1 going first I mentioned earlier. I think he found his 1-of/2-of stop in all 3 games, and he found his 1-of reclaiming Witzars that he beat me with in one of the games.
You got beat by your own card, man.
Yeah, I got beat by my own reclaiming Witzars.
I love that card too, dude.
Yeah, I love that card.
I put it in almost every Void deck.
That's like the number 1 reason to be Life Yusuke.
You want to know why too? I lost to Tim playing that card at Worlds. He sniped it.
I was sitting there like after that match, like, boy, if he had reclaiming in his deck, I was screwed.
That's true. I did have an Earth deck.
Yeah.
But I ever since that, it's one of those things where I was like, could I try that Endine's card that you played in that deck in Spike 2?
Exposition.
Exposition. I was like, I could try that.
Almost got in here.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
But the biggest takeaway I took from that match was like, I'm gonna put reclaiming Witzars in every deck.
The card's really good. It's also super cheap right now too. It's only like $1.50, $1.75. Go out and get your copies.
I've got a ton of them, dude.
I know. If you don't have Blood Omen cards, go out and get that card because you definitely should have it.
Yeah. So yeah, Earth has like a high density of like troublesome cards that are like good defensive pieces that sort of expose Yusuke's like good but not fantastic offense. So just like between that and just like I just couldn't quite get over that. And also just like the game 3, it was closer than it should have been, like given how much he built that turn 1. But like I don't think, like I said before, I don't think it's a bad matchup. It might be 50-50, it might be 40-60 or something, but
need a hot take.
I just lost that particular time.
Is Tim 2 broken? Is it super strong?
No,
Not broken. Is he super strong? That's what I want. Because I got people saying this stuff.
My first play around at Rockford, when I almost played him, he's incredibly strong.
Yes.
But like, I will say, if you can get messed up. Honestly, the biggest takeaway, I came back home, I tried it. I actually still have a Tim 2 deck built under Void. It's my let's play against my newer players kind of thing. Like, it's not super overwhelming, but let's show people the Void symbol kind of thing. And even my local players struggle against that deck just because I'm playing Tim 2. So, like, I think as a whole round, a good player playing Tim 2 is incredibly powerful and incredibly scary.
I'm not trying to get your character banned. I'm just saying, people's need to be on the lookout for the man, the Tim Berry himself.
It's a quality 7 hand size on symbols that don't have many.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to play one of those symbols and they want to play a 7 hand size, that's where they're going to land in a lot of cases. And I was like talking about Earth for a minute. Earth is good enough that you can just take Earth cards and put them on the most generic of generic characters like Vicious. And that deck is fine. That deck is scary. That deck is a threat. You can make top cuts with that deck, just like Vicious, good Earth cards. So you take the good Earth cards.
Expensive Earth cards.
Yes. And you put them on a 7 hand sizer that has a little bit of synergy with some of them.
Yeah.
That's like an extra good deck, right?
Yeah, dude. Nutcracker was built for your character, but
Reduction was that Reduction definitely came out after that was fine.
That reduction.
Nutcracker said I can put this foundation wherever I want.
Yeah,
okay, they're just gonna go right after.
And I like how like now with your character. Now it's not just when your character first came out, it was more of let's play Earth Tim 2. And we can play some Void. It's not going to be as good as the Earth, and we won't talk about Chaos. But now, like, with the inclusion of Yu Yu Hakusho, you got this
Yes,
reduction
thanks.
boulder barrage, smack you in the face, and you eat it and like it, and you can't do anything about it type deck now.
Except play out of your league and then win instantly.
Yeah, but it's nuts, and you got, and I think one of the strongest parts, of the two abilities, I actually think the seal is maybe the most important part on your character.
Yeah.
Just because
that's definitely there to. It's mainly there as like a defensive thing it's there for both sides, right? Because boosting checks is nice, but as the game goes on, that's not going to matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if your character
is like, if your character is like blank in the late game, it's just bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, don't even bother, right? And so the seal gives it some late game play where it's got some way to fashion an edge.
Yep.
It's also really good early.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It's
also really good early at not dying to Akuma.
Yes, very true. Very true.
It's really good at killing people early because you can shut down an offensive team.
Yes.
Shucks, man. I'm gonna play this multiple card, and you have refusing let go. I don't like that one.
So moving on from that, the round 4 I faced a Byakko.
Okay.
That was my only match win. That was 2-1. I think all of my other match wins were 2-0. I didn't lose a game in teams. He got me with the beast summonings. I got caught in the hand with no bid blocks.
Sure.
And the beast summon came, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I've had that beast summoning. Did you say beast summoning?
Yeah.
Yes.
Whoa, I don't actually think that card's good, so that's cool.
That card is really scary late game if you get caught with with not enough blocks in your hand. The card is quite scary.
Yeah, I was definitely going to cause some problems for he never kept massive size on the board. I didn't let him. Right, that never lasted. A lot of the time, the highest foundation on the board was 2. So it's just
that's manageable, like a Yusuke pump or just.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the biggest factor though about anybody wanting to play an actual 5-hander in this format is that this deck archetype exists, and Byakko is that deck. He's just a 5-hander. He doesn't cheat it out with like Kuwabara or anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, even Kuwabara is one of those things where it's like, well, playing him is scary right now with a deck like this going around. So
yeah, the round 5 I faced the Yoshimitsu that finished in 2nd place.
Okay.
I did win against him. It was nice not having to worry about low blocks.
Yes.
That was the game where I got the triple shotgun play. I knew that was going to happen at some point. There was a triple shotgun. He lived.
That's not the answer.
He lived, but then I had Shoki. And,
there we go.
Exactly. That's what
I think he sent that picture to us on the chat, in my chat. I think he did that. Yeah, that's pretty sick.
And then round 6, I got paired against JJ, and we sort of counted out the standings, and his tiebreakers were really bad, and my tiebreakers were mediocre. So we weren't sure that we were going to make the cut at 4-2.
Mm-hmm.
So we just ID'd.
Sure.
And then in top cuts, I had that marathon game against Gil. Games 2 and 3 are a little less eventful. Game 2, I kind of blew him up. Game 3, I was going second against Gil and got just my bad spams basically early on for my foundations, and I just couldn't do anything. Yeah, I got a little bit aggressive, hoping he would go for it. He would get brick draw, and he didn't. So,
well, that'll happen.
Yeah. And then in teams, round 1, we faced the teams. Well, one of the 2 Scotland teams.
Mm-hmm.
It paired me against Zhanghua, which I don't know how good or bad that matchup was, and they seem to think it was decent, or at least better than putting Zhanghua on like Jackie or Akuma. But
it's probably just too scary.
Yeah, it turns out that if you keep created Yuga off the table, which Toguro Brothers destroys assets, and -2 all of Zhanghua's attacks, she doesn't do a lot.
Yeah, very true.
I mean, that's the biggest key. You're right. It's being able to destroy that asset on their own turn, not necessarily having to wait for your own. So
yeah.
I know a lot of people because for Gauge format or when 7th Cross came out, I was like, okay, well, how do we deal with Zhanghua and Krita Yuga? It was like, well, a lot of these characters can play Herald or Germania, and they were doing that, but the problem is that that's not till your turn. You play it, and then you have to wait. And so she gets a whole turn of using it. Whereas like the first time she uses it, you're like, boom, out of here. And so like it is really good for that.
So yeah, I wound up playing 4 games against him because they paired me against him in the semifinals too.
Oh, okay.
And every time he played a Krita, I drew Toguro the next turn.
Oh, nice.
That feels real
or
bad.
I had it saved away. Except for one time, I had to bang it instead.
Yeah.
That's still not bad. That's not bad.
So yeah, game one against him in the Swiss went like 50 minutes, because I was just sitting there not dying until he played 3 windmill punches and didn't kill me, and then I backswung him. And then game 2, like we had like 8 minutes left, so. Well, I wasn't going to like slow play. Obviously, wasn't going to do anything reckless. And then he checked 3-2 checks on his first 2 turns, and so I killed him.
Oh, yeah. That'll happen.
Yeah, he went into my turn 2 with everything committed. So I was like, I have Spirit Gun and Shotgun. So, okay.
Okay, yeah.
That's 19.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, it's 19.
Was Spirit Gun always a low?
No. It depends on the deck. Like, some decks have...
Nightmare Terrors?
Yeah, well, some decks have
really
like,
good low blocks.
Yeah. It depends on what you're facing. Like some deck like the Earth deck, the Karma decks, you are gonna have all these +1 lows, and their highs are +3 fusion refusals or whatever. So
same thing with like Yoshimitsu too, because they got OG Mechanical Ninja as a +2 low, and they can get +2 to their next weapon block. They play a weapon card, so you kind of call high on them too sometimes, or just leave it as a mid, which I learned the other night. Just leave it as a mid sometimes.
Yeah, we lost that round. Ricky couldn't pull it out against Michael Murray, and Lee lost to the Goro. So round 2, we were in the 0-1 bracket, and we faced the Sailor Scouts. As a group of guys cosplaying as Sailor Scouts. This included the fellow I faced in round 1 in singles, who was kind of new. So they're probably buddies coming over from Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever.
Yeah.
The person I faced had basically an upgraded Bakugo demo deck off of Fire. And it was kind of interesting because he had all these like random foundations you don't see very often, like that Fei Long Hiten Ryu training or whatever, that he definitely got to trigger when I hunted something.
Oh yeah, I forget what that card does. What does that card do?
I did like hunt and then Spirit Charge Kick, and half his foundation lit up. Half his foundation base just went off and triggered all sorts of different weird stuff, but like at the end of the day, like none of his attacks dealt all that much damage. And it just like -2.
Don't tell Garrett that there's actually answers to hunt. You won't believe it.
it like destroys to put a face down in my card pool, and I'm Yusuke and I don't really care.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
So we took care of that. Round 3. I don't remember round 3 of teams very well for some reason. I know I faced a Morrigan, which was cool to see.
And, that's interesting.
Yeah, her check hack is definitely tough. It was sort of like anti-Yusuke, but because I had Bang, I sort of had to force him to use it on the first attack a lot, or like sometimes he'd say, okay, I'm not going to use it, and then I bang Morgan, and then that's out.
Yeah.
Well, then he does it on the Bang.
Yeah. But, he was cutting himself a lot, so I didn't have to do that much damage.
Sure.
I recall that being like a reasonably close match, but I think I still 2-0'd that. And then round 4, just because it was a 10-team event, we were paired against Mike, Dan, and Grant, and we were both 2-1, and we were the only 2-1s.
Oh, so just
and we had really good tiebreakers, and so even if we had played, we still both would have been in, it turns out.
Oh.
But because the top table ID'd, we were playing for 3 and 4 seed, which we were already getting. So it's like
just leave it to strength of schedule, I guess.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and then we have the same strength of schedule, and the software RNG'd us into the 3rd seed.
Oh.
So yeah,
kind of nice.
And top 4 was against the Scottish team that we lost to. Michael Murray's team that we lost to in round 1.
Sorry, it's actually crazy. So that RNG is really weird because like the JJ it wasn't really RNG for JJ's side for singles, right? But he was 7th seed going into top 8, and then when it came to finals, literally 7th and 8th were the last ones.
Yeah,
and so
they're 2 characters that don't mind going second. Shengon and Yoshimitsu, right? So,
and then you just talk about because you played against you played against the 4 seed for the finals, didn't you?
Yep. It was 3-4 in the team finals.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the same one, so
yeah,
it's just really cool. Going first doesn't matter, boys.
Yeah. So, Team Scotland again. They actually paired Jianhuan to me again, which was a surprise given how sort of south it went the first time.
Sure.
So we swap seed the other 2 matches because why not? But Leaf Connor, the Goro player, had some judge damage from a deck list, so Ricky only had to climb the 40 health 1 game out of 2. And in my match against Alan, in the second game, I won game 1 in sort of a similar fashion to the other ones. But in game 2, he yin-yanged for an ice ball and reversaled me with it. And we did all the things, and I played a shotgun. And then I was like, wait a minute, you can't yin-yang for ice ball. And I'm so used to Jianghua just being able to do anything she wants.
Yeah, very true.
But
yeah.
And I guess so was he. And we called Fam over. He's like, he looked at it for a few minutes. Like, there's no way to walk this back. And he had to game loss him. So we got aided by some judge damage there.
Sure.
I know I was probably in a pretty good position in my game anyway, but you never, like, he could have drawn double Seiryu or something and blown me out, right? So, so we finished our 2 matches before, as Lee was going to game 3 with Michael. So he didn't have to play that out. And then in finals, kind of already talked about my match with Dan a bit.
Yeah.
Lots of back and forth. Earth Lilith is a tough cookie to crack. It definitely took us much longer to play our 2 games than the other 2 matches took. Lee wound up losing in 3 to Mike Hardman, and Ricky pulled it out against Grant. So it was just me and Dan for like another half hour or something past that. But
sure.
Game 1 actually ended on like some attack into Toguro to draw a card, into Toguro to draw a card, into Toguro. So I was just looking for other attacks.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find one, but I had a Shoki. So I played the Shoki, and it landed, and I killed him with Bang. Because he had a toughest punk in junior high to survive, but the Bang put it over the top.
Bang put it over. Nice.
That was definitely one of the weirder kill turns I'm probably ever going to see. Just 3 Toguro sitting in the card pool.
Yeah.
In game 1, I had triple Toguro in my hand at one point. Game 2, I had triple Bang in my hand at one point. Just blue card city.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, they win games. Blue cards win games.
Blue cards. That's what they're there for. They're there to help you win games. All right. Anything else, Tim? Because I know you got to get. I know you got plans later tonight for rating. So are you good to go, or do you have more time, or?
We officially start in 10 minutes. Okay. I've told them I could be a little late.
That's fine. I don't have anything else. I don't know if Barrett.
Yes, we don't even know if our sub's going to be there.
Okay.
What party you want?
Of what?
Of 14.
I assume you're doing Shadowbringers, right?
No. Oh yeah. We're just getting our weekly Titan kill. Our Black Mage was in the hospital this past week, so we're just kind of getting our weeklies, and then next week we'll be back at going for the optimizations and the speedruns and all that.
Cool.
Gotcha.
So we might be in there for 15 minutes.
I guess I have one more question for, again, I'm using this as like a preview for US Map.
Yeah.
That's basically. And we'll have more stuff for that on the channel when that comes closer. But a lot, if you look on Facebook, the number 1 character people are terrified of right now is Goro. And I know you didn't play against him, but your teammate did. Where is the fear coming from? Is it just newer players to the game not necessarily being able to deal with an Exodia 4 hand size, or are they not structured? Is it at a deck building standpoint? Is the structuring too much to where they're just not accounting for having to deal 40 damage in a short amount of time?
Yeah, and I mean, Shogun Prince is a card too, right? It's,
yeah.
I think Goro is always going to be... I think it's fair to be worried about Goro, because even if, like, your deck's theoretically prepared to deal 40 damage, 1 dud hand, and that could be it, and if he it's sort of like he's going to have more, even though he's fetching his hand, I'm going to say like RNG blowouts where he finds 2 missiles in his discard really early, or he finds double Shokan really early, and like just puts you in these situations where it's very, very hard to win when he gets that good luck, more so than some other characters. And you can also get the bad luck and not find your stuff. So, I know like Garrett would say like, I'm never going to lose to Goro because he always picks his cards or whatever. And there's some truth, like if you're playing a staunch defensive deck and your plan is to just not let Goro beat you, that's certainly doable. But a lot of people don't play those kinds of, like, people are bringing their, here's my, well, Rando in particular might be pretty good against Goro, but, oh, what's that attack you want? No. But, people want to play like their Hies or something, and if you're a Chaos Hie versus Goro and your defense is like 4 Wear Lights and not much else, maybe some Face of a Monster, and he's just trying to chuck you to death and putting Shokan Princess down, and your Life Force Threads cost 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like it, sometimes he won't find useful cards early, but if he finds those really good cards early, it's quite uphill.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
but
oh man, I just thought of something and I just lost it. Darn it. It was something. It was actually a decent question too. Oh well, okay. It'll probably come to me later. So
yeah, I mean, Goro's pretty good. You definitely shouldn't disrespect the fact that there's a 40 health character in the format that
matters.
Yeah, that can in the same deck, in just different games, either put you on this clock where he flips, Nutcracker Missile Launcher turn 1, and then every turn for the rest of the game it's going to be Missile Launcher Nutcracker at +4 damage each. And then in the next game he could have double Shokan early, and he's just putting you in the sleeper hold.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be ready for both sides of that possibility.
Good point. Good point. Cool. Are you getting back to streaming now that you're home anytime soon for UFS content? Or Universe's content, I should say?
Yeah, I should probably do another one of those grab bags. I think that was pretty fun the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really thought about it too much. So like getting back to work, getting all the stuff caught up, and worrying about my buddy in the hospital and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know on Saturday I've got a Premier Store event. I have to decide if I'm going to play an iteration on this Yusuke or try something else out. Maybe try a life build. Maybe just. I've been thinking about like Fire Pro, Fire Kungjin as like the other deck to explore or whatever, something like that for the Nets. Because I was like it's always weird like working on exactly one deck. You're always worried about like, what if I'm missing something? What if should I be thinking about this? Should I be thinking about that?
Mm-hmm.
But so I have to decide what I'm going to do for that. And then
I have the opposite problem. I have like 5 decks I have built ready for Omaha/Nats, and I have no idea which one is better or the right call.
So just to think about all that stuff. Now that you've reminded me about it, I might have to put up a Facebook poll or something, because I should be free Sunday night, I think.
Cool.
But so keep an eye out for that. If not this week, then I'll probably do one next week or both weeks. Just depends on how busy I am.
Sure. All right. Your next event will probably be US Nats for like any majors, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless I lose my mind and last minute come to Kenosha on 3 back-to-back plane trips.
You could do it. I got a bed. You can stay at my house, man. I have no problem with it. You got a room, so.
Yeah.
When is Kenosha? Is it the beginning of October?
October 12th.
Okay.
It's the weekend before Nats.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would have to feel pretty out of sorts about like my deck or one of my decks probably, or just want to get the practice in.
Sure. Yeah. Again, my house is open if you want to stay.
Yeah.
So, and I'm actually picking up people from the airport this time, so I'm not making them get a car. So you can just hop on in with Bam and Scott. So just laying it out there for everybody.
I know we're doing a Omaha PTC pre-show later.
Yes.
Do we want him to put an input for guest or no?
Who?
You might have JJ at the time. Or
Well,
Miles.
Miles is going to come on, so we're going to have Miles with the picks for the guests. So Miles will be on. So anytime we don't have a guest, we'll have Tim pick. That's just the way it will be. We'll have Tim pick if we don't have a guest.
There's nothing coming up this coming weekend, right? There's no PTCs or anything.
Nah, Omaha's the next one, and that's next weekend.
Okay.
So yeah. We also have a Premier Store event on the 25th. For the swag, the awesome suits Yu Yu Hakusho mat that everybody wants.
Pretty good hat.
Oh, I want to win that mat so bad. I won the last month, and I'm like, I don't want this one. I want the other one. The other one looks cooler. So, yeah, I know a lot of people are going to be playing. I know one guy's going to be bringing that Nightmare Boulder Barrage that just tilts me so bad. So I have to figure out how to beat that.
I think that is one thing about teams. I feel like every event or every year there's like something where it feels like every play. Like I think one year I was like every playgroup has a secret Vega deck.
Yeah.
That's basically the same. And I think this year it might be that every playgroup has a secret Nightmare deck.
Yeah.
That might be a thing that's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you just need your secret hand cannon deck.
Yeah, right.
Or just drop
the
Pit.
The secret Life Spike 1 deck.
Yeah, you have to do that. Yeah. Well, I guess you can drop Pit turn 1. The multiple won't get flash.
I'm pretty sure that Life Spike 1 deck is really good.
Yeah.
It's not my style.
Well, the thing is, so the Quan Chi that I've been talking about, I have been swapping back and forth between death and life because it does different things than what Spike does. But just having the tools that are in life to counter things that are around, it's a really big push to maybe want me to play it.
So everybody knows this. I'm playing Cole Khan at Omaha. I bought blood red sleeves today. Prepared to be sacrificed to the sun god, everybody. Tim suggested I should get a sacrificial knife to bring. Thought about it. Couldn't find one.
It's in a mall, so probably not.
Yeah, that's probably true. But I also thought about buying like
a dulled if you do.
Yeah, and then get like I can get like if I can find that giant wood sword that he has with the spikes on it, I could probably do that because that's kind of rounded. And then I need the headdress, but I'm not big enough to go shirtless. So that'd be pretty sick. And then paint my body greenish like he is in 11. Greenish blue.
That's taking it a little far.
Hey, man. Tam does it. I might as well cosplay at least one point, right? So, but anywho, so Omaha's coming up. Me and Barrett are going to be there. By some miracle, Tim finds out how to teleport himself there. He won't be there. So, but
Omaha's annoyingly hard to get to from Connecticut. It's like as hard as going to Arizona or Vegas or something, even though it's not nearly as far.
Yeah, that's what a lot of East Coasters say.
Yeah, the Omaha airport is not cheap.
Yeah.
Even people that live in Omaha don't want to fly out of there. They'd rather drive to Kansas City than fly out of there. Yeah. So it's rough. Like I don't know why, but
yeah, it's the way it is. So so stay tuned for more content. Look out for Tim's streams. Barrett, you got anything you want to shout out before we end?
I will be posting a new article on the website coming eventually. I'm going to be doing an interview series, basically. I'm going to do like what gaming websites do when they interview like directors and the people like behind video games, and they ask them a bunch of questions and they put their answers. JJ's going to be my first one just because he's easy to get a hold of, and he is the singles winner. It will probably branch out to other PTC winners, well-known people in the community, or winners that come up and about. And I know people do like their own like tournament write-ups. I do want to just like differentiate. These are different than that. These are specific, questions, and then just writing answers to them, whether I come up with them on my own or if they have something specifically they want to say. So it's a different format. It's not a tournament write-up. I want questions answered that some people might have. So that's all it is.
And obviously, shout outs to JJ for winning. Congrats again.
Congratulations to you, Tim.
And
thanks. And Ricky and Lee.
Shout outs to Ricky and Lee.
Yeah.
I don't think we went into this event expecting necessarily to, we just kind of like hang out and play UFS for a day.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of it, we're getting a green card, and that's really cool. We've already got some ideas for the art. It's gonna be pretty neat.
Oh, cool!
That's
awesome, man. That's great. You got 2 years to design it, so you should be good, right?
Yeah, we just want to get the art. Make sure we have the art handle, and we'll worry about the design later. On the website, Mike Hardiman's going to be doing his UK Nats report for both formats.
That's coming soon. He hasn't gotten it to me yet. Still Symbol Series stuff, synopsises with Church. That's in the middle of Earth right now, which can be considered one of the best symbols in the game. I'm still doing the 5 for 5s. Mortal Kombat's coming out. I think Street Fighter comes out as of recording tomorrow. Cowboy Bebop comes out on Monday, and all that other stuff, so stay tuned to the channel.
I already have my first new character for deck write-ups. That will probably be later, but yeah.
Hey, it's always good to preview the stuff to get people to watch. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing, and we'll talk to you all later. Tim, thanks again, and congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, have a good night, everyone.